Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Season 39, War number 5. Today we're taking on the #1 war alliance in the world for several seasons running now, GT40. Going to be a very tough fight. We kind of knew that going in. So today my team is going to be Rintrah and Omega Sentinel returning to war. Very happy about that. And then Falcon also tagging along for a fight. We're going to start out on Path 8 today, and I don't think I've ever actually done any fights on Path 8 because when I was doing this editing here, I didn't actually have the text for Node 17 here. So we're going to start out with this GALAN on the aforementioned Node 17. Going to go in here with Rintrah. Pretty standard fight with Rintrah. The Neutralize is going to take care of all of GALAN's normal buffs. And he's also going to take care of the Fury from personal space, which is thus going to keep Rich Get Richer in line. And since we're going to be gaining power gains and dexterity buffs, or precision buffs rather, from that, you're going to see our Furies are going to be climbing pretty quickly here. And this fight actually ends with like a 172k crit on the SP2, so not that one, the next one. That one did not do as much damage as you saw, so I'm trying to, you can't really tell, I'm trying to dex out of the last part of that special one. I can do it maybe like, I don't know, 40 or 50% of the time, but when I'm far away and I don't get the dex, I'm not going to try and go in because he's going to parry me. So here we go, 172k crit. That was kind of crappy to waste that on the last, last 5% of his health, but, whatever. All right, we have a HULKLING here on the shared mini Node 24. Sloped armor doesn't apply here because there's no armor up buff. And then, again, another standard Rintrah fight here. The Neutralize is going to take care of every one of HULKLING's buffs except for the Pierce, because the Pierce happens when we parry him. So, as long as he doesn't get any regen buffs, we don't have to worry about Vigorous Assault. So, we are going to be triggering Buffet over time, but again, the Neutralize is going to take care of that as well. So, kind of playing pretty loosely here because Rintrah, he's incredibly tanky. There we go, 34 of those ruptures with the SP2 does a nice amount of damage there. And the fight is well under control, getting a lot of power from constantly failing HULKLING's buffs. Just trying to keep him cornered. Sometimes I block that entire special one there. But sometimes I will try and dex hits in the middle. It doesn't really matter. Like, I'm going to finish this fight with a full yellow bar, which is pretty incredible. Rintrah is just, he's so ridiculous. Alright, next up we have an ANTI-VENOM on Node 30. We're up on Path 1 now in Section 2. ANTI-VENOM is a tactic defender here, so we have to worry about that unsteady debuff. And Falcon is a tactic attacker. So the plan here is basically to go debuff immune as quickly as possible. I like that shallow dex there. That's been happening to me all the time now in every game mode. They shallow dex and then they punish you. That sucks. Anyway, so you go debuff immune. That gets rid of the Clintar debuff on me, and that actually turns off ANTI-VENOM's regen. And then while we're locked on, that's going to be where we're going to get the most damage. So we're trying to, combine those two things. Debuff immunity, get rid of that Clintar debuff. That'll also stop the unsteady debuff, of course, as well. And then we can, stay locked on as much as possible. So Falcon also does Falcon things. When he's locked on, he's going to disable a whole bunch of other crap. So, this is a pretty safe fight. It does end up being pretty sloppy. I mentioned that shallow dex there at the start. There's a couple parries that I don't have that don't work, and, I try my best not to blame input issues for stuff like this. But, I gotta call it out when I feel like it is the actual culprit here, so. Alright, so we are still kind of winning the health race here. We did not have a cleanse passive up there, but we did trigger the debuff immunity, got rid of that Clintar debuff again. So just kind of, slowly working away at his health here, making sure that we're not attacking into him if we do get the unsteady debuff. There's another missed parry there that cost me a bunch of health. And it doesn't really matter because I'm only using Falcon for this one fight. Now, what I didn't want to happen in this fight, and this happened a bunch in practice, is if you get cornered with him, his heavy, the 2-hit heavy the ANTI-VENOM has is really tricky, so that's really what you want to avoid most. But alright, last fight of the war for me is one of my favorites. Anytime I get to smack down a domino, it's a good time, and to use Omega Sentinel, also a great time. So Omega Sentinel, immune to Buffet, so she basically turns off this node just by being here. And then she's also immune to ability accuracy reduction from mutant champions, so she's not going to take any crit fail damage. Just one of the, the best counter to Domino in this node. Better than Nimrod, for sure, because of the Buffet immunity. So I went with the heal block pre-fight just because I didn't want her healing up via willpower from any of my debuffs. Got the 3 heal box applied, and then we got the plasma. As you can see, it's ticking for about 2k per tick, which is about 4k per second damage. Just a buttload of damage, and then from here, it's basically just don't get evaded. Wait for the plasma to kill her. Down she goes, a very quick and easy fight with Omega Sentinel. So yeah, GT40, man, they went 150-0 in this war, so shout out to them. That is very difficult, very impressive. We kind of knew going into this war that it was going to be extremely difficult for us to come out with a win, that we'd probably have to die 0 or 1 times in order to have a legitimate chance. But little did we know that GT40 was going to have their best war of the season and go completely deathless against us. So, they earn that #1 war spot time after time. So shout out to them. 4 kills, 0 deaths. Our record falls to 4-1. So I think that pushes us off the podium, but I'm not really too concerned about that because we're, the goal is Masters. If we make podium, that's fine. But Masters is always the goal. So. Alright guys, that's going to do it from this one. If you liked it, please let me know by hitting like, and be sure to sub for future content. As always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.